It's July 8th, 2014. This is Wes Fryer, and these are some answers to frequently asked questions for iPad Media Camp. You can go to the website wiki.ipadmediacamp.com and click the sidebar link for FAQs to see more of these video answers. The first question is, as a person who is just beginning to use an iPad, I would love to know all the educational apps you think are useful and how you have them grouped on your desktop. So, several different ways to answer this question. I group my apps on my iPad personally in functional folders, but I find it too cumbersome to go in and do that on my student iPads. So I just have the 6 most frequently used apps on the dock of our iPads, and the rest of them are kind of in a random order, and I teach my students how to use Spotlight, which you can get by just pulling down in the middle of the screen, and then you get the search window. But there are several different websites that you can find app lists that I've created. So the first one I'd bring to your attention is this one, which is our iPadMediaCamp.com website. And when you click the link for apps, you're going to see the apps that I recommend folks download. This year I think there are 14 required apps and only 2 of those are purchased apps. And these really are the essential apps. I think if you start with these creation apps, it's actually very easy to overload yourself with apps, and so starting off with those apps is a great thing to do. The other website that I would commend to you is my Mapping Media website, and if you just Google Mapping Media, you're going to be able to pull this up, and you can tap on any of these products. We're specifically focused in iPad Media Camp on narrated art and narrated slideshows and screencasts that are here, and then we're also doing on day 2 quick edit video, and on day 3 we're doing interactive writing and on an ebook. So when you go ahead and select one of these, then you can see the definition, workflow, but you're also going to see tools. And so, for instance, for quick edit video, there's links to different apps that are specific to that kind of a product. And that's really the number one place I'd recommend you go, because I am frequently updating this, and I'm working on the second book in this volume, and I'm going to be continuing to work on that. Another website I haven't actually updated really recently, but it has a lot of apps for more productivity personally, but they also are for some educational things, is this website called iPad with Wes. So it's just iPadwithwes.com. You can Google for that. I haven't updated this in a while, but there are different apps for collaboration, file sharing, notes, mind mapping, QR codes, a lot of different things like that. So you can find resources there as well. Specifically for my classroom, I maintain a website that is stem.wesfryer.com. So just type in that address and you'll be able to go to it. And in the sidebar here, you're going to see a link that says iPad apps and tips. And so if you go ahead and select that particular link, then you are going to be taken to this page where you're going to see a list of different apps that we use. And I'll continue to update this. And this is basically my class iPad app list. This isn't comprehensive, but these are a lot of the apps that we use in class, some of the main ones that you can find there. The last one that I'd recommend is a website called Appalicious, and Appalicious lets you create lists of apps, and you can search for my Twitter name, which is WFryer, W-F-R-Y-E-R, and you can search for Appalicious. So I guess it's like something, well, it's a little bit close to delicious, but it's for apps. And while there's a lot of different lists there, the one that I would bring to your attention are these sort of curated lists. So I have a list of the best iPad drawing and art apps, best iPad audio recording apps, best apps for musical creativity, best audio apps. And I've dated these, and some of these I've updated more recently than others. But I like this site a lot. It's called Appalicious, and it's a place that you can not only find things that I've recommended, but of course things other people have recommended as well for educational apps and other kinds of apps. The next question is, you mentioned your belief that not every assignment has to have a grade assigned to it, but I'm curious how you keep kids incentivized to do big projects like these if they're not getting a grade for them. So the first thing that comes to my mind when you mention this is a book that's now out of print called Working on the Work by Phil Schlechte. And this was published back in 2002. There's a newer, updated version that he has called Engaging Students, the next level of working on the work. And one of the things that Schlechte talks about is that, there are many students that are not motivated by simply the grade. We need to address different types of engagement and different kinds of motivation with students. And his main focus is by, having engaging work that students are going to be in the midst of, we have a better opportunity to help them learn and improve their achievement. And so I think the best way to get students excited is to have engaging work that they're going to be participating in. Having students working on projects, having them creating things that they're sharing not just for the class, but they're sharing online on your class website, on your class blog, places where people can share feedback, utilizing social media so that students have a broader audience and they can have a partner classroom as well as other folks that they may know. They can provide feedback for their work. I think this is part of how we engage students, and certainly there are some kids that are motivated by the grade, and we take grades on some things, but I want my students to be writing and creating far more then I'll have time to individually grade, every assignment. And even when I'm teaching graduate students, I'm doing that. And in some cases, I've had ways of randomly selecting assignments that for instance, in a class when we had different reflections, I didn't actually do a grade for every single one, but I would. In that case, when I'm teaching older students, I would, have a little quiz, and it would randomly say, share the link to, your reflection for this week, and then I would, give them a grade for that. But anyway, I commend to you the work of Schlechte and, this whole idea of student engagement and trying to help students to, work on meaningful projects and on meaningful work that they can see the relevance to for an audience that goes beyond the four walls of the classroom. The last question is, I do not understand how to make a kid blog of my own. I am struggling with getting into the page and creating my own class group. Well, what we're doing for iPad Media Camp is I've actually had you join as a student, and so the account that you've created here won't let you create a teacher account. Once you've created a teacher account, you can tap Control Panel up here in the corner, and there is an option that says create new class. And so you'll be able to tap here and say create a new class, and you're going to be able to do that. But what you're going to need to do at this point is create a new account. So when you just go to kidblog.org, you see these three colors: orange for teachers, red for students, and blue for parents. So you're going to tap the orange one that says teachers, and you're going to create your new class. Remember, and I'm actually already logged in, so let me log myself out, and then you'll see what this looks like when you're not logged in. Remember that whatever you create as your display name is what students and others are going to type in. So you don't want this to be super long, but you'll go ahead and put in your display name, your password, and your email, and then the class name that you want to use. This class name is going to be the link that people are going to click on after kidblog.org. So I use a short one for iPad Media Camp. I usually do IMC and then the number of our iPad Media Camp, or number 7. You can figure out what you'd like to do. It's got to be a unique class name that is not being used. You could use your name, you can use the school year that we're ending in, something like that. And then you're going to click Create Class. So that's how you're going to do that. And again, you're going to go just to the basic kidblog.org homepage, and you're going to create a new teacher account in order to create your first class. And then once you've done that, you can use that same login account to create additional classes. And you don't have to create new KidBlog accounts. You'll just be able to create additional KidBlog sites that are attached to your account. We'll talk more about that in day 3.